Welcome to this short webinar on um, idea to prototype in minutes using AI. And I'm very glad to have two esteemed guests today, Marcus and Mao. They will do their introductions. Um, my name is Ellen Mishra. Some of you might have been my past learner as well, or could be my potential future learner as well. I play the role of senior business analyst and principal trainer at Adaptive US. I've been performing the role of BA for about 28 years now, been through multiple projects, multiple countries, multiple continents. And this is where I spend most of my time trying to help business analysts perform better. And this is where I found this webinar very interesting because almost for last 5 years, I have been looking for a good functional prototyping tool. That has been my personal journey as well. And I'm very glad that I found a tool which I'm very happy about. Not that it meets 100% of my expectations, but it probably meets 90% of my expectation, which I would say is a very large performance as such. Because we as BAs can find requirements very well, and obviously our expectations about systems can be very, very high. So let me go ahead and ask Mao and Marcus to introduce themselves, and then we will continue. And just one quick question on the chat window or Q&A window, if you can tell us from which country are you joining? That'll be interesting to know. Usually we get lots of learners from US, Canada. I believe many of you would be from US, Canada. But other than US, Canada, are there people from other parts of the world as well? Okay. Yeah, one of you said Toronto, Canada. That's it, just one person. There'll be many of you. Donovan, where are you from? Kingston,
I'm
Canada
from
again.
Columbus, Ohio. For some reason, I can't
Ah,
type in the chat.
it has to be the Q&A. Oh, that's where one of my good colleague also lives in Ohio, Tom Tomasoni.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, he lives in Ohio. Um,
I'm having
then
problem, Ellen. I'm in Charleston, West Virginia.
what did you say, Michael?
I said I'm having the same trouble with the chat. It won't let me respond.
Chat somehow for some reason doesn't work, but if you want to type anything, you can do it in the Q&A section. Like there is
Okay,
a Q&A section where you can type something.
but I'm
Glad,
joining you.
okay.
I'm joining you from Charleston, West Virginia, in the U.S.
Okay. So I think Q&A. I see a lot of Q&A things. Arizona. I was in Arizona a couple of months back in Phoenix. Okay, somebody from Houston, Slovenia. That's nice. That's probably a new country for me. Austin, Arizona, Canada, Poland, okay. Latvia, that's very nice. MIT, Massachusetts, okay. Texas, Ottawa again, Dallas, okay. I'm glad at least we have few other countries joining us today, like Latvia. Then the other country, did I say what one? That one was, one second, Poland, and then I think Slovenia. Not bad. Okay, good. Thank you all for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to meet so many fellow business analysts around the world. And hopefully, we'll try to do a good justice to your queries, and we will be able to demo a good product to you today. And you can take it back and try it at your organization as well. So let me go down. And okay, so this is the congratulations poster, which I always believe. I always believe people who learn, they lead. People who stop learning, they stop kind of growing, and usually they also learn the very hard way that life isn't going to be very simple. If you stop learning, someday you probably would be subjected to job cuts and so many things that could happen because you are not fundamentally making yourself more valuable to the organization. People who are coming to the workforce, they tend to be better learners because they are probably younger, and that probably puts a lot of us at a risk. No, a lot of people ask me, Ellen, will your job be safe? I say, I don't know. So far, it has been, but I'm trying to keep up with the new tech, new skills, so that I still find myself valuable for my organization. So the agenda is very simple. We are going to talk about a functional prototyping tool, which is a very specific type of tool. It's not like Balsamic, it's not like Figma, which are mostly user interface kind of diagramming tools, but they don't really make it work. But today's tool will actually make it use. You can build apps in minutes and let your users use it, give you feedback. And if you like the tool, you could also use it as a production system. Otherwise, you could think of creating it through some other technology as well. And we'll leave some time for Q&A as well. Marcus, quick intro about yourself. Please go ahead.
Absolutely, Mishra. Thank you so much for having us today. It's great to meet everybody. I'm Marcus. I lead global sales over at Codeless ONE. We help folks build functional applications combining AI and no code. So today we're going to be diving into what functional application can look like in the role of a BA. So I'm really excited to dive further into this topic with everyone. Mal?
Yeah, so thank you. I should turn my camera. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
thank you,
should be
Misha and
listening.
Marcus. Hello, everybody. Nice meeting you here. So I am basically the product owner of Codeless ONE. As a product owner myself, I see a lot of pain points, in this traditional software development. And also I can see the power of see it before you build. So in today's demonstration part, I'm going to demonstrate how to build a working application, a functional prototype from scratch. So I look forward to this session.
Thank you, Mao. So I think, okay, of course, every webinar has an offer. So you do have an offer from us as well. I hope Marcus will also be able to give you some offer. But this is something I will tell you at the end of the webinar. Okay, so we're going to have a very short 1-minute poll. I believe all of you can answer because all of you are business analysts. So this should be an easy poll for you to answer. So give me a second. Let me introduce that poll. 1 second. I launch that poll. Do you folks see the poll in front of you? Okay, 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 okay. I see quite an interesting things. Like we got about 23, few more. I think we have about 50 participants right now, so we should get a little better number. Okay, okay. So we are almost at 30 now. Those of you who haven't, please participate because this is a good data for any business analyst and a business analysis organization. Okay, so maybe this is where we can stop. Others are not very keen. So I'm going to end the poll right now and share the results with all of you. So the results are something like this. None of you said you're very happy with your prototyping tool. That's a good indicator that the prototyping tools need a lot of improvement. Some of you said happy, and I would be very glad if you can indicate the tool that you currently use and you're happy with the current tool. So that will be good input for us as well. About 70% said somewhat unhappy, and about 14% said very unhappy. So that means, and I truly believe, and I have been in this business for quite long, and I truly believe that we need a good prototyping tool as business analysts, which is easy to use, easy to modify as well. Sometimes you do get tools which look nice, but the controllability is very low. You can't really modify them as new requirements emerge. So that is something we will also see today. How do we incorporate new requirements as they emerge through our stakeholder interactions? So I'm going to stop here, and it's a very good, interesting input for me to publish it on LinkedIn as well, because I got about 30 users participating in the poll. So obviously, all of us know what's a prototype. I just want to repeat it so that it's there in our mind. It's something that we create very early so that we can understand requirements better, we can validate our design, get inputs from our stakeholders. So Marcus, this is something I would also like you to keep in mind. Like once we create a prototype, if you can allow us to give some feedback on the prototype and that gets recorded on the system itself. That will be very nice to have. And then again, there are a lot of benefits of prototyping. In fact, if you observe um, the agile way of working that has become very, very prominent today, it's essentially a prototyping approach. Agile actually kind of encourages that start with a very simple version of the product, use it, and then evolve it. That's the way Agile encourages us to work. So a prototyping tool, a good prototyping tool could be a very good way to use or adopt Agile frameworks. So some simple principles that I want to kind of tell all of us, which we should keep in mind, and often we don't. One, obviously, the intent of a prototype is to communicate some of the requirements very well. And as long as we do it in a clear customer language, that's always very useful. It also should help us to create uniformity. That means we don't have to really kind of struggle in creating multiple UIs and they look different. It should not be the case. Most tools actually do that as well. Like if you're using Balsamiq and all, they do allow you to copy the original prototype that you have created. And obviously, we don't want to make it too complex. It's not the final product. So if everybody expects that everything that a customer needs or users are looking for should be there in the prototype, that's not a good prototype. You know, prototypes have to be much more simpler versions of our final product. Then obviously, every prototype that we build, it should also give good feedback to user actions. So if there is a command that we said, the user should feel that that action actually has been done and the data has been recorded. The customer should be able to see the data or the user should be able to see the data. It should make it easy to interpret the prototype. There should not be any training required to use the prototype. And obviously, it's also important from our perspective that we manage user expectations. We have to tell the users that this isn't a full-fledged product. It's still a prototype at this time. It will probably meet 80% of our needs because most of the needs are easy, that 80%, but that 80 to 100 becomes a problematic part. Then obviously, whenever we are building prototypes or even the final product, make the function of the elements very obvious, whatever button you are trying to use. The buttons are clearly labeled so that people can use it. It also should be designed for diverse user abilities. We could have expert users, we could have new users. And obviously, whatever you do, you try to make sure that the user doesn't make many mistakes. I remember one simple exercise that I did as an early BA. So I actually had placed two interesting buttons next to each other. So one button was add and the other button was delete. And this is how I placed these two buttons on my prototype. Okay. So can anybody tell me what's the problem if you do a design like this? What's the problem if you do a design like this? Sana,
Same color, potentially.
same color. Actually, I remember once I added about 30 records. And next time when I added few more records, I was supposed to add the new records, append, but I actually by mistake deleted them. So I again had to re-add all these records, 50 records, because the delete was so close to add. Then I realized this is a bad idea. And then nowadays, when I design some systems, I will actually move this button completely to the left so that people don't go here. And I will also give a different color so that people know, okay, this is a transaction which is usually not done. I'm not saying that you never delete, but you usually don't delete. So kind of make it very clear that it's not a good button to use or a good function to activate. And also you should warn if the user is clicking this, they should be warned that this is going to delete all the data. Are you sure? And nowadays, of course, we have soft delete, so that's one way little better. But in those days, we had hard delete, so it deleted all the data. Okay. Then obviously, if there are problems, we should help the users to fix them. And this is what I said, optimize for both novice and experienced users. Then easy reversal of user actions. You delete something by mistake, you should allow to be this prototype or function to retrieve the data. And always use existing mental models. Like if we take a look at any website today, no, say for example, if I go to our website or I go to Codeless ONE website or any website, if we go, you'll find some interesting things. Like say for example, if I share my entire screen, let's go to Codeless ONE and see if they have that element already implemented. Let's see. Good. Okay. You will always find something like a CTA button available here. No. If you go to our website also, you'll find the same design. That means most of the user actions that you want to repeat again and again, you typically put here. Then most people also advise, I think, I don't know whether Codeless wants to do it, typically make your contact email address and phone number very, very prominent. For a website, of course. For an application, you may not need, but for an application, maybe you have a problem, so you have a bug tracking tool or something. So if there is a problem with the application, the user should have an easy way to report the application issue. So these are what we call mental models. That means people have been seeing this kind of design for long, so they are expecting those kind of design. And obviously, we want the steps to be as minimum as possible while doing any number of transactions. Good. So I think I'm going to hand it over to Marcus now. Mao, would you like to take over from here?
Actually, Mitra, I think it's important for the folks here to maybe better understand the context of functional prototyping before we dive into the
Yeah,
demo piece.
sure,
I'd like to
sure.
make sure that everyone's on the same page here. But for the folks here on today's webinar, Mishra has been teaching BAs for a long time, and the concept of prototyping varies, whether you're talking about it from a project management perspective or a design perspective, which is what he mentioned earlier. A lot of the times when you hear prototype, people often think maybe you're rendering a mock-up for design purposes. What we're here to show all the BAs on the call today is a different approach to what we call functional prototyping, where we understand that BAs have to document requirements for businesses. But what happens once you document that requirement and you need to bring it into a live functional application to start using? So what we're going to be doing today is showing how we've bridged that gap and how the role of the BA is changing. With that being said, Mishra, have you started to see this shift with BAs, go from requirements documentation to more of a solutioning role on your end?
Um, of course, I think prototyping has been part of BA role, especially user interface design has been part of BA role for a very long time. And coding is not something that BAs are expected to do, but today with the availability of good tools, I think BAs can do a bit of solution design options, not necessarily the final solution, but at least the early solutioning they could do. And if it happens to work well, then you probably can get it used as well. So there's no mandatory requirement that you have to have a developer to build solutions. If the AI can build solutions, good for it. Good for the
Absolutely.
organization also.
And, I think most folks on the call today can even attest to the fact that the business landscape has changed. Most business leaders nowadays, at least when we speak to them, one of the first questions they ask is, with AI becoming so prevalent, is this a process that we can eliminate? Is this a process that we can enhance or optimize? So at least from our perspective, when we speak to BAs, most of the time we're hearing that that role has changed a lot and it shifted from, okay, I have this neatly scoped out requirements document. I've interviewed stakeholders, but now I'm having a hard time presenting a solution because what I write down in a requirements document doesn't always translate to a live use case. That's something we're hearing a lot in the field actually from BAs. So, and it's one of the reasons we created Codeless ONE for that reason, to make that gap a lot more accessible for folks that don't have that coding expertise or coding knowledge.
And usually coding capacity is a constraint in most organizations. You don't get as many coders as you would like to have.
Exactly. So now if there's not enough coders, then how can I bring one of those live applications to life? Uh, there's a lot of different scenarios where a BA might need to use this. One of the top ones that we hear most often is when they're evaluating a internal use case, a process and a business logic they need to capture, right? So how can I create that now using AI and no code? One of the use cases that we had prepared for everyone in the webinar today is a leave management application, which I'll show you here the requirements very shortly.
So Marcus, I'm stopping this here so you can take it over, or Mao can take it over.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to share my screen, everyone, and uh, you should see a leave management app requirements here, right? So you'll see that we're going to build a leave management app on today's call. Mao is going to be demoing how you can do that. But when we speak to BAs, this is typically how they map out the requirements. They need to know, okay, the app lets users apply for leaves and tracks their leave status. That's a very common requirement. In the beginning of the calendar year, if you're in North America, you probably get 24 leaves assigned to every employee. I mean, if you're somewhere maybe in a European country, then you might have more leaves. But for the purpose of the demo, we're going to create a use case with 24 leaves, okay? Now, the employee will apply a number of days of leave between the two dates, and they'll need to have leave calculations that exclude weekends because people don't work on weekends. And last, the leave shall be approved by an employee supervisor because, organizations are hierarchies and there's managers and employees. And it's very important as a modern organization that you get to see the status of these requests so you understand who on your team is available and who is away on a leave. So these are the basic requirements for a leave management app. And it's quite common. Most folks we talked to today, you can go out and buy out-of-box software to solve this use case. Or what most people do starting out is they might capture this process on a spreadsheet, but spreadsheets aren't built or designed for this type of process. They don't have the audit trails. They don't have the visibility. So what Mao is now going to demonstrate is how you can build this app without any coding experience and how you can easily configure it. With that being said, Mao, the floor is yours whenever you're ready, and you can show all the folks here today how we can build a leave management app together.
Sure. So let me start to share my screen. Okay, yeah. So I hope the screen is visible to everybody. So hello everybody, and thank you again for joining today's demonstration. And in this session, I'm going to demonstrate how we can build a working application, a functional prototype from scratch. And as Marcus mentioned, the application we're going to build is a leave management application. I think this is a use case, all sizes of organizations have. And of course, our goal is really to get a working solution up and running before the session ends. So here, we provide a rich selection of pre-built application in various domains. And I think for a lot of users, if you want to try out those applications, you can simply come here, check the details, some summary, and some screenshots, and you can easily click install, and you can start to play with this application. The process I'm going to demonstrate today is how we can build an application from scratch. So to create an application in Codeless ONE, we offer two options here. On the left is really AI recommends, and you choose what to accept. And on the right, we have, if the AI two agents mode, which basically you will see two intelligent agents interpret your configuration, go back and forth to do the application configuration for you. So let's try out the second option first. So here simply, I can provide the system, some application description to let the system know what I'm trying to achieve. So I just copy and pasted what Marcus mentioned on his slide. And of course, here, if you have a detailed requirement documentation, you can upload it here. Now, once I click continue, now you will see our dev agent and also our BA agent. Now they're starting to chat with each other, go back and forth to figure out all the essential building blocks for this leave management application. And that process might actually takes up to a couple of minutes. I would say this is almost a hands-free approach to start with. And in here, I think I'm just going to close a window because the process I want to show next is really on the left side. You let AI make you the recommendation and you choose what items to pick. So here again, I'm going to give the system some basic information. So here I will say leave management app. You can provide some description, but it's optional. I will just skip it. Now, once I click next, our AI engine will kick in to make you recommendations about, your application model, right? We call it the backbone of your application, where AI recommends some essential objects you can consider to improve. So for example, for this leave management app, I think the leave request is an object we need. So I'm going to uncheck things I don't need. And maybe I will also choose employee to start with. So I'm not going to make a lot of selection here, but just want to show, some basic building blocks here. On the right, AI also recommends some details or properties you can consider to have for each object. So for example, for leave request, we will have, start date, end date, and we're also going to calculate what's the days in between. And maybe you want the employee to provide some reasons, and also we have different status. And of course, here we support different types of properties. You can easily make change right now, or make changes once the application is created. And here we also need approver because later on I'm going to build an approval workflow where you can see once the request is submitted, it's going to be sent to the approver for approve. So now I will try to keep this simple, and let me see, is there any thing missing? Okay, so I think I have almost everything I need for the leave request. And the same, we can jump to the employee object. We have employee some basic information. So I will just make this relatively simple. Here I also see I actually need more information. So what I will do is I will manually add some properties from here. So for example, I think in each employee record, the information we want to capture is actually what is the total contracted leaves. Like Marcus mentioned in his slide, it's 24 days or whatever. So I will choose this as a number property. Also, I will build another one. Is a leave taken this year. Again, it's an integer property. And another one I'm going to build is also remaining leaves this year. And now I think we're good on the object and property side. Now I will choose to go next. Next, AI is also gathering the information and make recommendations regarding a very important part of our application model, which is the relationship, the cardinality. So I think a lot of the BA friends here are very familiar with this cardinality concept. So here, one employee, they can request multiple leaves. So this is a one-to-many relationship. And for some use cases, if you want to change it to one-to-one, one-to-many, you can easily do it from here. And of course, here we can enable or disable it to have a foreign key. I will just choose next. Next, AI also recommends, include some pages for your application. So we're, building the front end part. So I think, table, split view, and for some project related information, you might want to include Kanban or Gantt chart. And for time sensitive information, you might want to enable calendar, or if it's an image, highly customized UI, you may want to enable this card view as well. So here I'll just leave it as default, jump to next. Next is also another idea is what kind of portals you can include in your application. So normally for an application, if you have different types of stakeholders are going to interact with this application, we might want to say create one portal for the admins to monitor everything, but maybe another portal, maybe just for employees to submit their leave request. So here, this application is relatively simple, so I will just choose the default portal. So next, if you want to customize, the menu, right, upload your company's logo, you can do it in this step as well. And also the last step, AI also recommends you about the user roles, because we have multiple different types of stakeholders are going to use this application, right? They might want to have a different access permission on what they can or cannot do in this application. So normally we control the permission using roles. So here, I think we have HR manager, we have employee, we have team lead. That seems good. And of course, you can always go back to make more selections. And once I'm ready, I will simply click this Create Application button. And here, the system is also offering another option. Either you can use a quick AI setup, which is very fast, or give AI more time to do more advanced configuration. And here, to save time, I'm just going to create this quick AI setup. And I think, as you could see, the loader is spinning and it's very fast. You have noticed that creating the first version of your application only takes about a few seconds. And of course, in that short time, the platform automatically set up your cloud database, builds both the front end and the back end, and glue them together automatically. Traditionally, this process could take up to, say, I would say a couple of weeks or a couple of months if you choose to do it manually. Now, and of course, once the application is generated, you can use it as a functional prototype, not just a static mockup, which means you can,
Mao,
yeah.
Just 1 second. I think Enes has raised his hand. Enes, can you please go ahead with your question? Maybe, I don't know, maybe by mistake. Okay, you go ahead, Mao.
Right. Yeah. So once this application is generated, I also created some dummy data. We can use it as a functional prototype. You can gather some early feedback from your stakeholders, or you can use it to test or validate your data structure, your user flow, your workflows, and so on. And of course, the system is trying to take this application as far as possible. But it's also important to note that additional work is always required. So this application could be considered as a starting point for validation and iteration. So now go back to our use case. So the first application is created. You might say, how am I going to make some changes? Well, making changes in Codeless ONE is also very easy. I think what I will do is I will want to come to this application model to check, do I have all the objects, properties, relations, roles available? So I think what I also want to do is that now in the request object, those are the properties we selected in the AI recommendation process. But what I also want to do is I might actually want to create a property called custom ID. Now create a custom ID, I want to give it a prefix. So here I will say for request, I just say REQ dash and save it. And another one I also want to do is that, so when the leave request is generated, because we're going to pass that leave request to the approver, to the manager of that employee. We want the employee to see actually how many remaining leaves this employee has. However, we have that information available in employee, but I also want to capture and copy that information from employee to leave request as well. So here simply I will use a special property type, which is called the mirror property. So basically when a leave request is created, I will let the system to go to the employee and extract the leave summary here. So I will build a mirror property and select the source remaining leaves. So this is a source property I'm going to mirror from. So now I think I'm all set in terms of the leave request. Another one, I think on the employee side, we have created some properties here, and now it's time to complete this formula. So I think the formula is relatively simple. So here I will turn on this calculated field and build a formula here. Say remaining leaves this year equals to total contracted leaves and subtract. So here what I will do is I will subtract this leave already taken this year. However, for leave already taken this year, I will do an aggregation. So I will say this equals to sum of all my leave requests from the linked leave request records. And simply I would choose to save it. Now, what I will do is I will want to publish this application. So here, in the original requirement, so there's one piece of requirement is saying when we are calculating the duration of days, we actually want to skip the weekends or the public holidays. So how can we do that? So I think And of course, if we do traditional development, right, we can for sure achieve it. But here I'm going to use a workflow. I will add the AI node to give us the calculation. So the workflow will be when the leave request is created. Next, I will want AI to analyze. I will write the prompt here. Give me the gaps between start date and end date. About minus and let's say Canadian holidays. Then I will do a little bit formatting to make sure that we can pass the outcome from the AI to the rest of the workflows. So here simply I will get rid of the rest of the, because this outcome, right, the calculated result, skip the weekends and holidays, that's really the the format I need. Then what I will do is next I will choose to update the leave request here for the duration. This is a field we wanted calculation, and I will choose AI field. Here I will simply choose that output from the AI node. And I will choose to save it. Now we can, can do a refresh of the application, go there. So first, what we can do is we can see if that calculation is actually gets done properly. So what I would do is let's choose the start date to be today, and choose the end date to be, let's say, next Monday. So I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So the AI should populate that. Oh, it's actually 3 days. So AI actually populate the outcome here, which I think we're good. So the AI workflow is working right now. And then what I want to do next is that I want the system to trigger an approval workflow. Right? When the leave request is submitted, I will want to route that request, send it to the approver. So here we can go to the approval workflow. I just create a simple workflow. The leave request flow. And configure the conditions and when the leave request is created by employee. So here we have many roles defined, but just for demonstrations purpose, I will check the admin, which is my current role. So just to see the trigger flow. And here say, when this leave request is created by the employee, I'm going to send it to the approver for a request. And here you can also do some action mapping. Right? If the approver choose approve, you're going to change the status of the request to approved, otherwise to reject. If it's reject, you might actually want to add some optional or required comments. And I just choose to save it. And now what I think I would do is I will just, try to create the application from scratch. I put my own name here. Let's say the total contracted leaves I have is really 24. And now, as you could see, I do not have any leave request. So currently I have 24 days left. And then what I can do is I can actually add some new leave request, okay, and choose the approver and add some reasons. I need some time. Save it. I think there's some issue in our app model. We can go back and fix it. So now here we can choose to add another one. Okay. Choose to here. Reason for leave, just leave it blank. And now if I go to the approval, I can actually see now as a approver, I will get a notification, right? So once I come here, I can choose look at the details, and I can choose either approve or reject. Okay? And of course, you can also build reporting. So for each department, each organization, they can build reporting to look at employees' leave request summary and so on. So yeah, so I think this marks the end of my demonstration. And of course, I think this leave management app is just the one type of applications we can use Codeless ONE to build. We have simple solutions like this leave management, and also we see users are building very complex ERP solutions or many solutions for not-for-profit organization, for bioscience organizations. Yeah, so I think thank you everybody for joining this session, and I think I will hand it over back to Mishra and Marcus to see if you have any questions or comments and so on.
Thank you, Mao, so much. I think it's very helpful, and I can see before we build or use any other product, this could be a great option to try and automate many of the internal processes that organizations have. And I also liked, I think Mao did not show the different views. The views are very, very nice, like the card view, the calendar view. And if you really are keen on multiple views of data, that's very, very nice. Usually, I haven't seen that kind of a easy solution where you can portray your data in so many variety of ways. So that's a very, very powerful addition here. And I think I am just going to, Mao, if you can stop sharing, I'll just take another 5 minutes to give the coupon codes for everybody. I will also give the coupon code from Marcus and Codeless ONE. So let me go back and we just do this. I think we had a great demo of this product, and I'm going to just tell a little bit about 1 second. What Adaptive does, I think we as an organization, we help business analysts to upskill themselves. A large part of our effort goes towards getting you accredited through IIBA, which many of you may be already knowing. And we also do other courses as well. We do courses on generative AI, Excel, Power BI, resume preparation, interview preparation, quite a lot of things beyond IIBA certifications as well. And this is some of our past stat for our past learners. So about 60% got higher salary by working with us and making themselves as a branded business analyst. You can read a lot of stories about our past learners, and you can actually reach out to any one of them on that list on LinkedIn. Most of them, you'll find them on LinkedIn as well. So primarily, we are a learning organization, but we are also trying to build some simple tools for business analysts as well. Like we are working on a requirements warehousing tool, which we believe is the need of the market, and it's not something that is available right now. Again, we got so many BAs who have got IIBA certifications done with us. And these are something that you get as a guarantee from us, success guarantee, guarantee to run, and money back guarantee as well. This slide I will skip because I think most of you know this. These are the set of mentors that you meet at IIBA. All of us are very committed to the profession. All of us are also very deeply involved in IIBA activities. So you possibly have the best faculty members available anywhere in the world. And I'm not boasting off. There may be larger training institutes for sure, but the quality of faculty that we have, I don't think anybody else would match that quality or caliber of our faculty members. So many feedbacks. Okay, so there are a couple of simple apps also you can use. There is a free app called Competency Pro, which you can use to track your BA competency for a longer duration. You can also track your CDUs. Like if you join a webinar, you can record it and you can claim the credit for that webinar. Like this webinar, you can claim one CDU because you spent 1 hour with us. A couple of things. We have a course on generative AI happening on October 19th. That's again a great course because generative AI is becoming very powerful and you can leverage generative AI to create your requirements document and use Codeless One to build that app as well. Then there are two other courses that is starting for IIBA, ECBA, CCBA, CBAP. One starts on 20th September and one starts on 2nd October. You also get a little bit of a discount on your IIBA certification voucher if you buy with us. We being a premier partner to IIBA, IIBA does offer a little discount to us. So part of that we pass it on to you as well. And all our course details are available on this link, which is adaptiveus.com/calendar. And a couple of other things that has happened over last couple of months. One, we have something called a live training options, which you can add on top of on-demand courses. That gives you a lot of flexibility. You could start with the on-demand course, feel comfortable, very good. Don't feel comfortable, then you can add the live training options. Now we also have IIBA question banks and simulations, and we also have ECBA study aids available in Japanese, German, and Arab, not German, French, Japanese, and Arabic language as well. So 3 new languages have been added. So these are some coupons that you can use for your upcoming purchase. One, there is a coupon code CBAP 550 that gives you $550 off on our CBAP Ultimate program, CCBA 500, and ECBA 300. And you could also win the free Gen AI course if you buy these courses within next 24 hours. So these are some of the offers that I wanted to make. And I am also going to put the Codeless One offer here. 1 second. I think I could have put it in the chat window as well, but I will put it here. So those of you who want to practice Codeless One, here is a free link for you. 1 second. Copy, paste it here. I think it's kind of quite simple. Codeless1.com/start -free -codeless-1. So I think maybe you could have made it a start free. That's easier one to remember. Anyway, so this is the URL that you can use to start playing around with Codeless One. And Marcus' email address and all, I will share it with all of you. So in case you are kind of looking at this product in a little bit more intense way, you probably can have a session with him on a one-on-one basis as well. So this is what we wanted to cover with you folks today. Any question at this point in time to Marcus, to me, to Mao? All
Mishra,
of you are
while
good?
we're jumping in there, I did see some interesting questions in the Q&A, which I'd love to touch on.
Sure,
I
go
saw
ahead.
a
Yeah.
question come in from an attendee asking, can this take away the role of a BA? And it's something that we hear quite often. You know, our parent company specializes in requirement software, and we have AI assistants that can actually help you write requirements. And one of the first questions folks always ask is, can this replace my role? Now, I think ultimately, because AI is becoming so prevalent now, it's not so much about replacing your role, more so as how can the new modern BA arm and equip themselves with AI skills, no code skills to become a more productive and efficient employee and add more value to the business. If you as a BA can develop an app that reduces the role of a developer or minimizes it, how much more valuable would that be for as the role of a BA? That's something that we'd like to part with, you know, for any BAs that are in attendance today.
And I think developers also would probably switch from doing basic coding to do advanced coding integrations. They'll probably focus more on that than just doing basic prototyping or basic form building. Those part I think will eventually go to AI. I doubt we can stop that journey. No, the journey cannot be stopped. So as long as we understand the journey, we participate in it, both for the BA community and developer community as well. Okay, I'm not talking only a BA community. Developer community also needs to understand what will be their role in the new age. The same typing activity will probably go away. That has to go away and become a more efficient approach to build solutions.
Absolutely.
And yeah, any other
Sure.
question?
Just
Anybody else?
one quick thing here, Mishra, on the free trial. I know there's a lot of BAs in attendance that might be interested in exploring this technology. The link that Mishra shared, if you fill out a quick form, we'll reach out and share how you can get started on a trial. The best way to evaluate a tool like this is to come in with maybe a use case or a process that's currently in your backlog that you've been trying to bring to life. I'd be happy to jump on a session, a workshopping session, if you will, to help you bring that to life together on Codeless ONE.
Okay. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Mao. Thanks all of you who joined us today. I hope you got a good preview of what you can do yourself. And hopefully you folks will start leveraging new age platforms to make your organizations much more stronger and powerful. Thank you so much and have a lovely day and hope we get to interact with each one of us again in future. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye Mao. Bye Mark.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.